One of the ways to get your video to stand out is to include unique graphics. It only takes a couple of minutes to transform a vector file that you found or purchased on the internet and have it drawn in VideoScribe. You can use free software like Inkscape, but if you already have an Adobe Creative Cloud subscription, we might as well make use of it, right? Essentially, a vector image is made up of shapes and paths that, when combined, create your image. VideoScribe uses the stroke and path information in these files to know where to draw. This is very different from a flat bitmap image like a picture that you've taken from your phone or camera. For more information about the difference between a bitmap image like a JPEG or PNG and a vector image, check out the Adding Images to Your Project video in the main VideoScribe tutorial set. So what exactly do I mean by custom vector image? There are many sources that you can use to find the perfect images for your video. With each source, however, comes a different artist who builds his or her files differently from everyone else. Because of this, VideoScribe may not be able to figure out how to draw the image even if it's an SVG vector file. Here's an example of an image that I downloaded from publicdomainvectors.org. If we were to open the SVG file that I downloaded from the site and threw it straight into VideoScribe, this is how VideoScribe would process it. So yeah, it could be better. Here's an example of the same image after running it through a 1 to 2 minute process in Illustrator. That looks a lot better to me. You can download the before and after files as well as the Illustrator file in the download section to follow along. So let's get started. Open up Illustrator and go to File, Open, and open the vector file that you want to work on. I'm using the Essentials default workspace, so if you want your screen to look like mine, go to Window, Workspace, Essentials. Then go back to Window, Workspace, and click on Reset Essentials, and it should now look like my screen. First, open your Layers window by going to Window, Layers, or by hitting F7 on your keyboard. Rename the layer with your image by double-clicking on its name in the Layers window, and rename it to Stroke. Next, hit Ctrl-A on your keyboard to select all of the image, or simply highlight the entire canvas and hit Ctrl-C or Edit Copy to copy the image to your clipboard. Click on the document-looking icon at the bottom of the Layers window to create a new layer. Highlight the new layer in the Layers window and hit Ctrl-Shift-V on your keyboard, or Edit, Paste in Place. This will create a duplicate of your stroke layer in its exact position. Rename this new layer to Image. Hide the top image layer by clicking on its eyeball icon in the Layers window. It will look like nothing changed since the stroke layer is currently the same as the image layer. Hit Ctrl-A on your keyboard or click and drag around the canvas area to select all of the image. Next, look at the top of your screen at the options bar and find the two squares that control your fill and stroke. Click on the first square, which affects the fill, and choose the square with the red line going through it. Do the same thing with the stroke square next to it. Your project should now be completely blank since we just got rid of both the fill and stroke of everything on the screen. Don't worry about the colors, everything is still preserved on our hidden image layer. The purpose of this layer is strictly to provide stroke information so that VideoScribe knows where to draw its lines. Next, double-click on the stroke square on the sidebar and set its color to black, or 000,000. Look at the top of your screen at your options bar and find the stroke value. Increase the stroke until you have a nice thick black border around the main outline of your image. Basically, whatever is covered in black will be drawn during the VideoScribe drawing animation. So the less lines that are drawn, the more complete the image will look before the animation is done. For example, here's the suitcase image with a 10-point stroke. If we pause it near the end, you can see that there are still quite a few unfinished places, particularly the handle area and the edges around the suitcase. VideoScribe will automatically fill it, which makes the image look like it jumped to completion, which goes against the illusion of the image being hand-drawn. Here is the same image but with a 30-point stroke. If we pause it at the end of the animation, you can see that most of the image is already completed. When the drawing effect ends, it will pretty much just fill in the big open areas. I think the 30-point stroke looks better than the 10-point stroke, but it's up to you based on how you want your video to look and feel. You can always change it later if you want. Going back to Illustrator, I'll make sure that my stroke layer is selected in the Layers window. Select the entire image, and change its stroke to 30 points. While still having everything selected, make sure that the stroke type is set to Uniform and Basic, and change its opacity to 0. Next, go to Object, Artboards, Fit to Artwork Bounds to have the canvas resize around the newly created stroke layer. Finally, from the Layers window, turn the image layer back on by clicking on the space where its eyeball icon used to be. And that's it! The image itself should look exactly the same as when we opened it, since we did all of our work on the stroke layer, which we set to be completely transparent. Go to File, Save As, and save it as a .ai, and put Illustrator in its name so that you know that this is the file you'd open if you have to make changes to it later. Uncheck Create PDF Compatible File and click OK. Next, go back to File, Save As, click on the File Type drop-down menu, and change it to SVG. Put the word VideoScribe in its file name so that you know right away that this is the file that you should import into VideoScribe. For VideoScribe SVG settings, I found that switching the type to Adobe CEF kept my images consistent between how they look in Illustrator and how they look in VideoScribe. Make sure that Embed is selected, and uncheck Preserve Illustrator editing capabilities. Having this setting on crashed my VideoScribe sessions more than I would like to remember, so just open the AI file we created earlier if you want to edit the image later on. Everything else is just default settings, so click OK. To test the effect, open up VideoScribe and click on the image icon in the main project window. Click on the file folder icon at the bottom left, and open the VideoScribe SVG we just created. Resize it as needed. Set the camera. Set the draw time. And preview the effect. And there you have it. A much cleaner version of the suitcase image. Well, that's it for this tutorial. If you haven't already, definitely check out the video about how to use an image sequence of your scribe in Adobe Premiere Pro to overlay your scribe on other videos or backgrounds. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave any comments or questions below, and I'll see you soon. This is Luke signing off. Thanks for watching.